All right. As I promised, next in our introduction series was talking about drawing itself and the meaning of it. So let's explore what's the etymology of the word first. So drawing is a bit different. I mean, the word that we use in English is different from other words that you're gonna use in other languages like Italian, French, so on and so forth. So in Italian, for example, you say disegno, which is closer to the word design in English. But drawing means sketching, simply. So the act of drawing is sketching your ideas. And sketch comes from schizzare in Italian, just throwing your ideas on paper without thinking too much about it. So your thoughts are not organized when you draw. But when you design it, it means there's a certain knowledge behind it, and there's order, and there's a certain process in making that image. That's disegno, design. What I'm gonna teach you is designing the human body, designing the visible universe through drawing, because we need to also learn how to doodle, to make marks, to have fun with different qualities of line itself. And that's what you're gonna learn by studying the tradition. Tradition means traditio. Dizio is what is being said. It has the same origin with dictionary, for example. Words that are being said, dictionary. So tradition is not a bad thing. I mean, if you want to grow and have a look at future and to innovate art, whatever, when you use this verb, innovation, I mean innovate, there should be something before you that you want to innovate. So you have to have the knowledge of what has been done in the past and the tradition that has been corrupted, especially in the last century. So we have kind of difficulty a bit to reach to those minories of knowledge of Sophia. Sophia means a higher dimension of knowledge, to that kind of inner understanding, and that comes through studying the traditions in different cultures. If you're talking about Western culture in Europe, this is a tradition. Michelangelo, for example, we can study Michelangelo to understand what drawing the human figure means and why he used and chose the human body to express his ideas. What is important about human body that made the study of anatomy crucial in history? Now it's less important, apparently, but it's always important if you're walking through this journey of learning figurative art. So figurative art is a way of thinking. It's not a way of doing things. So if you draw the figure, it doesn't mean you're a figurative artist. Your thoughts make you a figurative artist. Figure means number, remember. So a figurative artist is someone who is able to abstract the real world, the reality, that derives from rex, means object, the objects the figurative artist is able to abstract objects into numbers. Okay, you have the canvas, you have a blank page, and that's an infinite space that you have to control. Okay, this canvas was empty before I started to put forms on it, and I had millions of possibilities to treat with that canvas and the type of form that I wanted to put on it. I decided to abstract my ideas into figures, numbers, and create the perspective that I wanted, the spatial quality that I wanted, which is like a central perspective, highly Renaissance concept, colors, the human body. So you create the space in your work, and then you start to put figures in it. So coming back to the topic, here we are abstracting as figurative artists into numbers. Why I say numbers? Because when you say square, you're talking about number 4. When you talk about circle, you're talking about infinite amount of numbers that you cannot count. That's a kind of circle always defines the divine being. You know, when you see the angels in medieval art, they are all always in a circular composition. And then you have the figure of God, Jesus Christ, at the center of it. You see when you enter into a church, you see there's a dome, okay, which is called the axis mundi. You look up and you see the Holy Spirit at the center, where you have the lantern where light comes down. So you see, when you start to learn figurative art, you have to also reflect about the architecture of that type. In Italy, you have millions of it. So when you enter into any church, first of all, the idea of light, bringing light to the space, create a microcosm where everything works as a symbol to help the human being, the fiddle that enters to that space, to remind him or her that God exists. And that's the idea. God exists, but it's invisible. When you read Genesis and you have the scene of creation of Adam in Sistine Chapel, where I think that's the most famous picture on the internet, where there are two hands of Adam and God meeting, but there's a tiny distance between them. Michelangelo read Bible, Genesis, the Old Testament, and he reflected about all these theological, things. And there you go. I wanted to show you the picture. This is what I'm talking about. So he thought about it. He thought about this relationship between human being and the idea of the divine. Look at this beauty. All right. So he abstracted all these ideas and he incarnated the Word. And this is what you find in Genesis. By the way, in Christianity, for instance, you say that God was, or the Word was incarnated. So one of the reasons, motivations for artists in Western culture was this incarnation of the Word, especially the sacred Word, what God said or says, and you give form to it as a human being. So you take part in the process of creation, because it's something ongoing and continuous. So you are not only a receiver, but you are also active in this whole scene of natural existence and creation. Another thing that I would like you to think about is the difference between generating and creating. Nature generates. Any natural act generates, but humans, artists, they create. We don't generate. It's not this painting, that painting is not generated by itself. You know, it wasn't something passive happening here. I decided to create that. So we have to also think about creation. Where drawing stands here in this universe of knowledge, and in this vast, we can have many discussions about this. So drawing helps you to see better the phenomena. Okay. Natural things, the nature itself, light. Think about our world. What are the visible elements? So you have light. Light is the most important thing, because light makes everything visible. That's the principal element, fundamental element. Then you see colors through the presence of light. Then we have contrast between day and night. So we have all these dualities, day, night, complementary colors, red, green. Being, not being, these are all dualities that artists try to resolve in their artwork, where everything coexists in harmony. For example, when you look at this type of pictures, you see the complementary colors adjacent together, and they have a real harmonious existence here in these pictures. So later I will demonstrate to you how you can start doing a gesture drawing, a quick sketch. It's a master study from Michelangelo. It's so simple. And I teach you the process of abstracting any work of art or natural element into lines and points. So the way I explain it is that imagine that you have the paper, and in this you have to imagine it as a 2D, two-dimensional flat page first. So you start to see what are the relationships between different points. For example, look at the top of my head, the extremities. Look at the extremities, and this creates the curve. You have 2 points here, 1 point here, another one here, other 2 here. So when you connect these dots like constellations, okay, you're gonna have a flat form. That's the first step. So of abstracting things into numbers, dots, because you are bringing, you're helping the form to become. And this becoming needs your help as artists. So that's the first thing I talk about. And then there's the important idea of line itself, that each line should have direction and purpose. Everything you draw should have a purpose and a certain clear direction. Where my hand, my arm goes, this is a direction. This is a direction. And you have to choose a line that has a certain purpose. Okay, and these are all the things that we gonna discuss about, and I will demonstrate that to you. Furthermore, after that, we do some quick sketches on Photoshop, where I talk more about line quality. Okay, where the line should be light, where it should be heavy and dark, where it should be thick, where it should be thin. Okay, so let me finish here. We continue this in the next video. So again, don't hesitate to ask me any question. I'm at your disposal. So take care till next video. See you soon.